Talking DoW. So happy to be back on Talking DoW. It's been a few weeks since we had Peter on the show. Great to be here with you, Lex,
Hi everyone.
and great to be joining with our community out there through Facebook, through YouTube. Let us know who's online. It would be great to hear from you and have some engagement for today's show. We're very happy to have Carol Liu with us today. Me and Lex work very closely with Carol at the centre, and it's always a great opportunity when she has the opportunity to share her experience and her story. So for those who don't know Carol, she is Master Shah's only DoW Calligraphy lineage holder worldwide. And DoW Calligraphy is Master Shah's greatest empowerment tool for transformation, self-healing, and so much more. There's so much wisdom around that we might get to explore a little bit later with Carol. But her journey is quite unique because she really had her story is really one of blossoming out of the mud, of the lotus coming up from the mud, because her journey hasn't been exactly easy. And before we bring her on today, we're actually going to share a short little video that goes a little bit into Carol's story and the struggles that she had in her life and how she changed that and turned that round when she managed to find Master Shah's teaching and tools of empowerment. So we're going to get to meet Carol, for those that haven't, after this little video and jump into a few questions and have a bit of back and forth. If you have any questions in the chat, let us know. It'd be great to hear from you as well. So we're just going to play this little short video introducing Carol, and then we're going to bring her on shortly. Hope you enjoy it.
Childhood, I've been quite introverted and became more and more distant. But when it got to a point where I had a meltdown at work, that I had tears crying out for no reason, and kind of shut myself like a numb state. That you don't feel anything. There was no reason to live. That whether I live or not, it didn't make a difference to me. Like being a robot, that you are programmed to do this and that, but it was just a task. It had no depth to it, no purpose, no meaning for it, and I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel anything about life. And it got to a point where I know that this is not healthy, and this is not what I want to continue on with my life like this. So I searched for a way out, to find any way that could shift my way of thinking, my way of believing, my state of feeling bad and feeling negative about life and feeling there's no meaning to life. So I started off with the psychology, psychiatrist, counseling, and whatever recommendations, but it didn't actually give me I didn't feel it was moving me forward. Even when I started with Master Shah's teaching, I didn't feel anything at all. That my mind was so blocked as well. Because my heart was also not open, that I wasn't sensitive to any changes that was happening throughout that process. It was only after 2 months when I had that checkpoint that I realized and reflected back on it, the significant change in my way of thinking and my beliefs, that I realized that something did take place.
Okay, bringing Carol on now. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for sharing your story with us in such a beautiful, heart-touching way. I just love that shot of you at the end of that video with that big smile on your face, knowing where you've come from, to see you just glowing and radiating so much joy. So thank you for joining us today. We're very happy to be here and talk a little bit more about what you're offering at the center at the moment. And so thanks for joining us.
Great, thanks. Sorry, I'm just going to jump straight in. Carol, forgive me for jumping straight in. Didn't give you a chance to say hello. Carol, I was just watching, just listening to you share, and thank you for your sharing, because I think so many people will be able to relate. Sort of blockages, this anxiety and depression. I know is something that's absolutely on the rise, it seems, with so many people experiencing at the moment. So I know your sharing and your story will certainly help many people. Just for me to sort of understand, when you talked about being a robot and you're in this place of just doing a task, but it was just, a place of emptiness. You're just sort of doing tasks. How would you explain that robot sort of came about? Was that something as a result of your upbringing, like your family surrounds, or was it kind of society? What was it that created this robot as such? How would you explain that?
Thank you, Alexander and Lex, for having me. Thank you for the question. In terms of being that robot, it's really a mix of your environment in it, and what you were brought up by your family, by the education system, by the people around you, and what's taking place at that time. In it, that I was very closed off. In it, that there was some distance with my family challenges as well, and also with my education, that since from I started school all the way to year 6, that I didn't have any Chinese friends, or even any in the whole year. It was just myself. And I came with my parents knowing very little English. So when I came in without understanding anyone, without being able to communicate with people, and not knowing that, and that had a bit of a trauma that I didn't realize to it. And then there was also bullying at school that caused even more things to close off, that I closed off myself to people, to others as well. And because there was that disconnection, I was also seeking for that connection in some way by doing my best, being recognized for my achievements in it. So I was following the expectations of others. So whatever people tell me is what I do. Whether I enjoyed it or not, it was really being programmed in it and accomplishing those steps.
Yeah, wow. Carol, would you say, because can I ask, when did you, I didn't realize that you came with your parents and your English and all of that. What age was this?
No, my parents came from China and I was born here in it, but throughout their life they know very little English.
Right, okay.
And so when I grew up, before school, all I was speaking was Chinese.
Right, got you.
All I
And
communicated was Chinese, and then I suddenly went into school and I didn't know how to communicate.
yeah, right. It all makes a lot of sense. Carol, would you remember obviously this started, going into, what, kindergarten or year one, whatever it was. Do you recall, because when you shared in that video that obviously all of this stuff was happening at such a young age, do you actually recall sort of a good time or a happy time before all of this sort of happened? Do you have those kind of memories, or has it very much been eclipsed by what you went through at those such younger years?
Before I met Master Shah, I didn't realize I had the issues with my childhood affecting me in it. And I've forgotten a lot of those memories. And through the healing journey that I had to bring this up, look for it, accept it, learn from it, and move on from it. So I am gradually getting more and more of understanding myself, what I was when I was a childhood. There were certain moments that was more connected in it, but it was very challenging to find that and also connect with it. It was just like watching a movie of someone, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, because I think your story can be relatable to so many people, particularly, who are suffering with depression, and this aspect that the trauma, started at such a young age that, it's just what one can relate to in this aspect of closing it all out. Kind of moving forward, Carol, from that sharing, how would you, you've sort of shared how Carol was at that time, sort of before Master Shah. If we sort of literally came forward to you now, what are the key differences that you observe in yourself in terms of how Carol was operating pre-Master Shah, and who is the Carol now? Just that. How would you see yourself now?
There's so much that has changed in my life that it began by silencing the negative thoughts. That I got to the point where all I thought about was what I hated, what I didn't like, what I didn't want to do, and living my choices with the process of elimination of what I hated the most. That was my way of living in as I was working in society. And as I developed, I found much more strength, much more energy with me towards the positive, towards what I wanted to do, what I enjoy, bringing up from my heart to be able to connect with people that wanting to do that. I was avoiding the connection with people in the past. And also being able to step into the spotlight, to say, and to be able to teach, help others, to share my story. This would be the thing that I would hate and would avoid doing no matter what. And now it's completely shifted. And now it's so what was my challenge has now become my way of life and my joy and one of my talents to help others.
That's beautiful, Carol. What was there a moment, like, because when I kind of reflect on your journey, and you sort of you've shared that now in hindsight, that you can see that your challenges were your blessings in a way, you know. But what was that? Because we've covered the first part of your story there about up, you know, up to when you met Master Shah and the transformation that you experienced. But what's been your journey over the last, what is it, 8 or 9 years to get you to a point now where, you know, you travel the world, you're teaching a large number of people, you're really holding them on their journey. Was it like a light switch moment? What was it that brought you, you know, in the spotlight, so to speak, and made you take that step?
For me, it was like a light switch because when I started, I had a very active mind and was constantly overthinking. So I didn't realize my changes that was taking place in me. So the reflections that I do at certain points is the light switch that allowed me to realize more and more of the changes that has taken place for me. And it allowed me to, because of the reflection, to learn more about myself. That what I have challenges with, what I do well at, that all of this is actually one in it. Your challenges, you know about it and you can adjust it to be one of your talents. And what you're skilled at, that you can make it shine more and align it all together to succeed. This is the power of Master Shah's teaching, is that oneness, bringing everything together as one and moving to accomplish anything in your life.
Was there a specific point for you, Carol? Do you remember like a specific? I know you shared in the video about the moment in your own healing journey, when you kind of realized, oh wow, something has shifted and changed here. But was there a specific moment where you realized, I want to teach people, or I want to help others in this way, or was that just a natural progression?
It's more of a sudden enlightenment, sudden awakening that I wanted to do that, or I wanted to become that. That when the 2-month checkpoint was the first stage where I noticed that my mind was so much more different in it. So I started to learn more and more. But I was still avoiding teaching. There was many people that wanted me to join the master teacher in training, and I kept on avoiding it and delaying it and said that I don't want to be it. It's not me in there. So I started that training quite late on. Yeah, even after the training started, I still had not joined because of my blockages in it. But then there was something in my soul that kind of shouted out to me saying to do it, and also to do certain things which allowed me to become a certified master teacher, to become Master Shah's DoW Calligraphy lineage holder. That if I don't listen to my soul and it is something significant, my soul will shout and tell me I have to do this, and I follow it. And that's where the sudden awakening comes.
Carol, can I ask, when did you recognize your soul or know you had this being inside you communicating? Do you remember when that happened?
When I first started, it was more like it was being cheeky. That it was kind of like manipulating my mind and giving me lots of thoughts about it. And then it started to kind of push me along with a bit more force on it. And that's where I started to realize that this is what my true nature, my authentic self wanted me to do.
is there some way, Carol, that you would, because I find this very interesting, is there some way that you would distinguish between your ordinary self and this true nature that you're talking about? Like you talked about being a bit cheeky when I was trying to get your attention. Like what is it for you that encapsulates that deeper part of yourself, or that true nature?
There's more of a driving force to it in a more positive way. It's not about what it is. Sometimes I don't realize there is a significance in what it is that I was guided to do in it. But there's a lot more power, a lot more positivity in it to help me move along in it. In the past, it was, if it was from my mind, it was trying to come from that negative space and using that negativity to give me power to do something about it. But now it's more of that positive space, more of that empowerment to support and bring the significance of certain aspects for me to move along in my life.
Beautiful, Carol. Such incredible sharing. I'm learning so much more about Carol. It's so wonderful. Carol, so we know your Master Shah's only DoW Calligraphy lineage holder in the world. And what's your driver? You know, what's leading up to that point to, you know, becoming this lineage holder of Master Shah? What's driven you? Because it took so much commitment, personal commitment, and of course, you know, I'm assuming you probably had no idea that, you know, such a reality was being lined up for you down the track to become Master Shah's lineage, DoW Calligraphy lineage. What was your driver at that point to just sort of push those limits to be able to be in this position you are today?
That the title that's given by Master Shah is, I owe it all to him in it, that it's not about the title, it's really about the journey in it. All I was focusing on the journey is, what can I do to serve? What was it that I needed to accomplish to be better, to help others? That before I received the title, that I got guided that I needed to, because I only just became a DoW calligraphy teacher, but I didn't know what I could and could not do. So I was writing calligraphy to understand my capabilities and to know the level of my authority. So that's what I did to prepare myself to be a better DoW calligraphy teacher and prepare myself to teach. And then suddenly, Master Shah made me the DoW calligraphy lineage holder. So it's really more about lining yourself up on this journey, focus on that service, and anything can come your way.
Carol, you touched on something really interesting there, that you used the DoW calligraphy, you wrote the calligraphy to identify your potential, you know, your soul potential. I know we don't have too much time, it's a very big question, but how could you explain to someone brand new listening here how DoW calligraphy can bring about this deeper awareness of your potential?
So with Chinese writing, people have been using it for thousands of years for cultivation of their internal self. And even with your own writing, you know, on good days, your writing could be all neat and beautiful, and in bad days, you could, your writing is not so good in there. So what you write can reflect in certain ways. But with DoW Calligraphy, because it is a oneness writing, that, and it also carries the source vibrational field, that you can tune in to what messages I can write better, then you know that you are very well aligned with those messages. Any writings that you're not doing well at, you have some blockages that needs to be transformed if you want to write better. So that is a gauge in it, but you can also see more of the qualities as you write the calligraphy over time, because of in different days, in different moments, your writing changes, and you can understand through the writing, where are you now and where I am to go.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carol. It is very magical. Whenever I've done DoW calligraphy with you, it's always been a very magical experience. It's hard to explain how something on the paper, you know, like when you're trying to change something to change something inside you, and you just like, why can't I change that? It's like, it seems so, you know, it defies the human mind in a lot of ways. Carol, I want to know, we've only got a couple of minutes left. What is it that you're, you know, what is your message to people out there that may be struggling with anxiety and depression, and what is it that you're able to offer them? We know that you've had this you can obviously empathize with them, and you can connect on that level, but what is your message for someone that might be struggling right now, and what can you do to help them?
That if you don't give up on yourself, that there is always a way out. And it starts from realizing that there is hope in it. What a lot of studies has shown with the vibration, increasing that vibration, is giving you that you may not know the way out, but as you increase your vibration, that you can reach the joy, the love, the peace, and more in your life. And that's how I've moved through it. And there is other techniques, other modalities that can also support and help. That there is many things out there, and you never know what can help you. Just continue to be open and find that for yourself.
Carol, what's your greatest dream, your biggest dream at this time?
My greatest dream is that more and more people experience the DoW calligraphy and utilize it as the breakthrough remote healing technology to serve your life and serve others. I would love to see everyone know what is DoW calligraphy. Like people know Reiki, that people can come to know DoW calligraphy as an answer for many aspects of their life.
Beautiful, Carol. So can you just let people know what it is that you have on offer at the moment, through the DoW Center, and a little bit about the program that you have on offer, and then we'll share a link for everybody who wants to know a little bit more about that.
So I am delighted to have been able to create this program. It's a 4-week program, Tools to Thrive, where I share from my experience and teach you different tools that have supported my journey to allow me that greater change, allow me to move forward in my life, that it complements any healing modalities, that anything that you currently do. This is to enhance what you're already doing, or it could be if you haven't found that solution, this may be the door opener for you to help you in your life.
That's great. Thank you, Carol. So you'll see that link if you're watching this, even on the replay, there's the link in the description and in the comments. So you can click through, and actually Carol and myself hosted a webinar, hosting webinars that you can join and find out a little bit more about the Tools to Thrive program. Carol dives a little bit deeper into what she touched on a minute ago around the frequency and vibration as well, and why uplifting the frequency and vibration can really change your life. You know, what that actually means beyond having to work it out in your mind, having to think it through, and the principle of why the healing works with the DoW Calligraphy and the DoW Calligraphy field. So it's really an exploration of the gamut of offerings that Carol makes available and that the center makes available. So it's very powerful. It's kicking off October 3rd. So click through there. The webinar is totally free. It's a gift. So you can click through and you'll get blessed as well. There'll be a blessing in there. You can experience that and see if that helps. And Carol's also offering 15 minutes free to anyone who joins that webinar for some one-on-one time with her to see whether the program is right for you. It may not be. There may be some other way we can help or serve you, or it may not be the right thing for you at this time. But we want to make sure that, and Carol wants to make sure that she's offering whatever she can to support the people out there. So anything else? Lex, you want to say anything else, Carol, before we go?
No, I'm feeling very fulfilled and very grateful, Carol, for your personal sharing, and I'm hoping that there's many people out there who, I know there's many people out there who can relate to your experiences, and very grateful for the opportunity that they can also experience the same tools, the teachings and everything that Master Sha offers. So very grateful for your time today, Carol. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Lex, for having me. And I look forward to connecting with more people and sharing my story and helping others through their challenges.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you, Lex. Thanks to everybody who's joined. Feel free to leave a comment or share the video. Let us know. You can reach out to us on the Master Sha DoW Centre Sydney Facebook page as well. You can always leave us a message, and people will be there to get back to you. So thank you for everybody, and I'll see. I think we're going to do another session next week. So I think I'll see both of you again sometime next week, and we're going to have some other special guests on as well to share some of their stories too. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, everyone.